Hello, I'm cKnoor, and it's time to talk about what's new in Season 7. As you know, it's Norse, and normally I spend a lot of time getting a lot of good footage and making graphics and stuff for each season. But this is also the weekend of the Blood Bowl 3 World Championship, and I've been watching that, and thus I have less time than normal. However, in this video, we're going to go over most of the big changes, what's new, and what's coming in Season 7. Let's start by jumping straight into the game and have a look at the Norse team, shall we? Now, the first big difference you'll notice when you make a Norse team is that you have to choose an alignment. Because Norse can be in several different alignments. This, for the most part, does not matter. However, it does matter when it comes to access to star players. You can see here, depending on the different alignments, you might get different inducements. That's not the case, but if we click on F here, we see what star players each alignment have available to them. Favored of Chaos Undivided and Favored of Khorne have the same, as far as I can tell. But Old World Classic has different star players. Now, generally, I think I prefer Old World Classic here because you generally don't buy that many star players with inducements on the ladder. But you do get Cindy, and she's really cheap. Now, Norse actually has a lot of different positionals available to them. You have the Yeti, of course, which isn't really unchanged from what we've seen previously in Blood Bowl 2. Still has Claw, Disturbing Presence, Frenzy, and Unchanneled Fury. It's fine. There are, however, two new pieces we have not seen before, and there is no longer a thrower on the team. Instead, there's a Valkyrie, which does not have block, but has a stat line of 7-3-3-3-8, so not the best passer, but Norse aren't really known for passing anyways. But she does have access to both Pass, Catch, Dauntless, and Strip Ball, which is a pretty interesting kit. It's a lot of decently useful skills. She also has access to general agility and passing and strength as secondary, so she can get pretty much whatever you want, and you can have two of them. Now, the Norse Berserker is looking the same as always. It's got Frenzy, Block, and Jump Up, and the Ulf Werner, same as always, Strength 4 and Frenzy. However, over here, we have a Beer Boar. You can have two of these, and they cost 20k, and their armor is 6+, so they're gonna get knocked out really quickly. They are titchy, and they're stunty, and they have no hands. They do have dodge, and more importantly, they have a new trait called Pick Me Up, which means that at the end of your opponent's turn, all the pieces they have knocked down that are not stunned, that are within 3 squares of a Beer Boar, they get to roll a die, and on a 5+, they get to instantly stand up. Now, you need to trade one of your actual good players for a Beer Boar, so I'm not sure it's actually a viable piece. However, it is extremely cheap, and it can only get agility skills on a secondary. So, you know, Pick Me Up might be useful at the start, and then you just foul with it. Could be something. It's fun. It's probably not that great. Lastly, one thing we should be aware of is that the Norse linemen have gotten 2 new skills. First of all, they've gotten Thick Skull, so they're actually less likely to get KO'd, but more importantly, they've gotten Drunkard, which means they suffer a -1 penalty when trying to rush. So you're not gonna rush as much with these guys anymore unless you have the rerolls available and are willing to risk it, but that's scary. It's made the team a bit slower. Now, last season with the Stunty, we had the Community Challenge, Halflings versus Goblins. This season, we have something a bit more involved and probably a bit more exciting. We have the Norsca Arena, and this is a gauntlet type of challenge. Let me just jump in game again, and I'll show you how it works. So for Season 7, we have, of course, the official ladder, and we have the then new Norsca Arena. In the Norsca Arena, you craft a custom team according to the rules set up here, which has been put together by Cyanide together with community input, where all of the teams available in-game are set into different tiers, and depending on what tier the team is in, you get to build a team for a certain amount of cost. So you can see here in tier 1, for example, Dark Elves, Dwarves, Lizardmen, Orcs, and Shambling Undead have 1150k cash allowed, and you get to put 6 primary skills on 6 different players. However, if we go down to here, the bottom tier, the stunty tier, where goblins and halflings live, we see that we're allowed slightly more cash, 1180k, but we're allowed 7 primary skills and 2 secondary skills and 1 star player. And then, of course, the different tiers in between give you more skills, mostly primary skills. And if you're in tier 3, you get 7 primary and a secondary skill. If we go down here as well, outside of star player, we also see that it's possible to rosterize inducements using the cash allowed, and that you're not allowed to stack skills, meaning when you give skills to certain players, they can't have more than 1 per player, and you're not allowed random skills nor characteristic improvements. So you've created a team, you've put it in the competition, and here you now see that we have, it's essentially a gauntlet. You're trying to get to 7 victories before you get 2 defeats. And this is a playoff format that is a simple match. You won't be able to tie, meaning if it is a tie, we'll go to a third half. And if it's still a tie after that, we're going to go to a shootout, which is just rolling dice. But you can't tie. You can either win or you can lose. And then essentially you try to go as far as you can in the Norsca Arena, trying to get all the way to 7 wins. This is also something I know some parts of the community have been really eager to try out. So it is super cool that it's here. Now, some of you might go, hang on. Star players, inducements, you can't put those in custom teams. Well, you couldn't, but now you can. Because, again, team creation has been, yet again, updated with more stuff. So let's just make a new human team, right? Now, we can, of course, again, make our own templates. I haven't done that, but if we click custom team here and confirm creation, we now have some extra things up top, mainly inducements. It's the one thing we have. And here we can be like, well, for my custom team, based on the amount of money I have available, I always want to have, I want to have Cindy, and I want to have a wizard. Cool. Now, if we go back to our players here, we can see that Cindy has been rostered. We have a team value of 200 already because we have a wizard, and we have Cindy for 50k. And now, of course, we can just do what we normally do and build a team. And this will probably go great. There we go. Load the... And here we go. Now, all of a sudden, we have a custom team for a custom league with a rostered star player. So she's always going to be available, and she is counting towards your team value together with the wizard that we've also induced. Now, as with most new seasons, there are usually some UI improvements or changes. Last few seasons, we have had updates to our automatic skills and what skills are shown over players' heads, if we want them to be visible or not. This season, the rosters have been added to the match info box. This is the thing in-game where you click K, and it will pop up a bunch of information about the match. Previously, you were able to see what the weather is, you'll be able to see what the kickoff result was, and any type of inducements that each coach has bought. Now, you also have the team rosters, so if you're curious or forgotten something and you don't want to click around, you can just look at that in the match info screen, which is really cool. Let's quickly talk about the ladder because there are some changes there as well. One of them's massive, and some of them are interesting. First of all, the TV max for Season 7 is 1750. The big change this season and seasons going forward is that in both the ladder, the official Season 7 ladder, and the Norsca Arena, you can now queue multiple teams at the same time. Now, this is something I haven't tested out in the preview build because, believe it or not, there aren't any people playing in the preview build. But according to Cyanide, I have no reason to not believe them, you can now actually queue up several teams at the same time, meaning if you have a team that's high TV or has a lot of games that are taking a long time to get more matches, you can create more teams and more quickly get a good matchup. Hopefully this will make the matchmaker even better than it currently is. So that is super duper cool. Secondly, well, actually thirdly at this point, random skills versus picked skills. Now, this has been a debate back and forth, and it's probably going to keep being a debate. And this is something that changes from season to season based on discussions with the community and other inputs. This season, the way it's going to work is that random primary skills and picked primary skills are both going to cost 20k, meaning there's no benefit to randoming other than the lesser SPP cost. However, that is not true for secondary skills. This only applies to primary, so if you want to be a cool person and random secondary skills, you can still do that and you get the lesser TV cost for those players. If you don't play Blood Bowl, that's just going to be word jumble, but hopefully that was clear enough. Now, lastly, before we talk about the Blood Pass, we are going to talk about another pass. Join me in-game, will you? If we look in the top left here, we can see that I am level 1 and I'm a gambler. I haven't been able to be that before. What the heck is that? Well, if we go here to my manager page, we can see that here in manager progression, now on my normal account, I am level 100 because that is max level. However, with Season 7, this has been increased to 150. Now, there's no extra warp stone up here, but there are some new paints, and more importantly, there are new backgrounds for your coach banner, and there are new portraits as well. And then, of course, there are some cosmetics, and then there are some different tags, and these are the tags that you can put under your name on your coach banner that shows up. So these are the current ones I have available here because I've unlocked the whole Blood Pass, so now I'm a big drinker. Most of these are portrait frames, new tags, and a lot of new manager portraits. Almost all of them are female because it was pretty quickly pointed out that out of the avatars you get early, these are all masculine, and it would be nice if there were some feminine ones. So that's been added to the manager track as well. And finally, the Blood Pass. As always, you can either not buy the Blood Pass and unlock the free stuff. It's 50 levels. Last season, of course, there were 2 teams on the Blood Pass. This season, it's back to just being 1. If you play the whole Blood Pass, it's 50 levels. And if you do your weekly quests, it's probably going to take you somewhere around 30 to 40 matches to unlock the Norse for free. If you don't want to wait, you can pay for the Blood Pass, and the Norse unlock instantly, and then you get some extra dice. Actually, you get 3 sets of extra dice on the Blood Pass this season. You get the Norse Ball, you get a bunch of nicknames and, of course, cosmetics and banners for your manager profile. In general, I think the cosmetics for the Norse team this time around, more so than for some, well, not compared to the Flings, of course. For some reason, I love Flings now. But there are a lot of like really cool cosmetics, and there are also a lot of like really stupid cosmetics for the Norse, which I approve of, because it's tricky to make cosmetics for Blood Bowl because it all has to fit within the world of Blood Bowl, which is, you know, dictated by Games Workshop. So you can't get too silly, but having having a grown man with a bunch of skulls that aren't chaos, I find funny. So there you go. And I think that's kind of... Is that it? Have I talked about everything I want to talk about in the new Season 7 update? I think the big changes this season, outside of, well, Norse being one of my early favorite teams, we'll see if this new version lives up to my favorite version, which is 20 years old at this point. But in any case, both having the Norsca Arena, a new way to kind of play the game, is really interesting to me. I know that Cyanide has also talked about adding an extra, like, ish ranking system to the ladder, where, but this will probably, starting out at least, be outside of the game, where teams will be ranked based on their first 20 matches, meaning if you only have the willpower to play 20 games on the ladder for a season with one team, rather than grind it out to get to like the top spots, this might be another way to get into the playoffs at the end. But of course I can't see that in the VIP build, and once the patch notes are out, there'll probably be more information about that. The Norsca Arena, I think, is going to be more engaging to play compared to the community event we had last season. But if we're going to get something similar as both the community event from Season 6 and the arena from Season 7, that's kind of telling how much extra stuff and how much polish is ending up in Blood Bowl 3 at the moment. Meaning, if you're not playing Blood Bowl 3 right now, you probably should be, because this is honestly the best any like version of Blood Bowl, be that 1, 2, or 3, has ever been when it comes to features for custom teams and different ways to play. So it's really cool to see that Cyanide has added all of these things, keep adding these things, and are actually listening to the community as a whole. So with all of that said, once Season 7 drops, I'm back in. I'm going to play a heck ton of Norse. Up until the point where I run into things that hit me hard and I get sad. And then I'll play something else. But in any case, let me know what you think of the update down in the comments. Thank you guys for watching. Bye for now.